Ambition is one of those words people use all the time, but rarely stop to really examine. Most definitions describe it simply as a desire for distinction, achievement, or power. And on the surface, that sounds clear enough. But if that's all ambition is, why do some people keep moving forward through obstacles, uncertainty, even failure, while others seem to remain stuck in place? Maybe ambition isn't just about wanting more. Maybe it's about understanding something deeper that quietly shapes the direction of a person's life. We all know what it's like to make a wish. The kind that slips off our tongues without much thought. I wish I could lose weight. I wish I could be healthier. I wish I had more money. These are casual wishes, fleeting thoughts that might cross our minds on a bad day, or when we see someone else achieve something we wish we had. But the problem with these wishes is that they stay just that, wishes. There's no real action behind them, no plan, no real push to turn them into something tangible. Take weight loss, for example. How many of us have thought about shedding a few pounds? Maybe we've even made the decision in the moment. This is it. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to eat healthier. It feels good. Right. That burst of motivation is like a small flame in the dark. But then the flame flickers. We wake up the next day. The thought of exercise feels like a chore, and suddenly we're back to ordering takeout for dinner. The wish to be healthier remains, but the desire to take action. That's where the gap begins. The same goes for wanting a better life, or to earn more money. We all have those moments where we look at our circumstances and think, if only I could make more money, I'd be happier, I'd feel more secure. It's easy to wish for these things. In fact, it's so easy that sometimes we convince ourselves we're working on it when in reality, we're just spinning our wheels. We buy a new self-help book. We make a quick plan to cut expenses or maybe even dream about a promotion. But we rarely commit to taking the hard daily actions that would actually lead us to that change. Sure, the wish is there. But a wish without action is like a seed that never sees the sunlight. No roots, no growth. So what's the difference between a wish and a true desire? A wish is something we casually hope for, something we want, but aren't really prepared to put in the work for. It stays in the realm of maybe. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe when things are easier. It doesn't require sacrifice or discipline. A true desire, on the other hand, isn't just a thought. It's a commitment. It's waking up every morning with the drive to do whatever it takes, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when the world seems to be working against us. Real change begins the moment a wish transforms into a disciplined, eager desire. It's when you stop hoping for things to happen and start making things happen. That's when you begin to do what it takes, not just what's easy. It's not enough to wish to lose weight. You need to want it enough to get out of bed at 5 in the morning, to exercise, to choose the salad over the burger, to say no to that second glass of wine at dinner. It's not enough to wish for more money. You need to hustle, to put in the work day after day, to make the sacrifices that others aren't willing to make. It's in the daily grind where ambition starts to show its true power. Ambition isn't about dreaming big one day and then hoping that the universe will somehow give it to you. Ambition is the fuel that powers the engine of hard work. It's the constant, unwavering commitment to the actions required to move forward. It's about looking at the gap between where you are and where you want to be, and instead of shrinking from it, leaning in. Imagine someone who's truly ambitious about improving their life. This person doesn't wait for the right time to start. They don't wait for the stars to align. They get up every day with a sense of purpose. They might not always feel motivated, and some days the journey is exhausting. But they know that ambition isn't a fleeting feeling. It's a daily decision. They know that every step forward, no matter how small, is progress, and they embrace the process no matter how long it takes. Ambition at its core is about commitment, not just to the goal, but to the work. It's about making the hard choices day after day, and that's what separates the wishers from the doers. Think about it. How many times have we seen people around us talk about wanting to achieve something, but then back away when it requires a real effort? Maybe they wish to be healthier, but never change their habits. Or they wish for financial freedom, but never take the first step to educate themselves or invest wisely. The gap between wishing and achieving often lies in our ability to take consistent action. To move beyond the wish, and dig deeper into the desire that requires work. To understand that the road to success isn't paved with wishes. It's built by doing, every single day. The real magic happens when we commit to the desire not just for a short period, but for the long haul. It's like planting a tree. You don't plant a seed today and expect to see a full-grown tree tomorrow. You water it, you care for it, you protect it from the elements. And over time, with consistent effort, it grows. That's what ambition is, growing something even when you don't see immediate results. It's the constant watering of your goals even when it feels like nothing is happening. But this isn't easy. The world loves quick fixes, easy wins, and shortcuts. We're conditioned to believe that success should come quickly and effortlessly. But real ambition is about patience. It's about saying, I'll do the work no matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult it gets. Or it's the commitment to take the first step even when you don't have all the answers. It's the discipline to keep going when you don't feel like it. Ambition is saying, I will show up day after day and make progress even if it's small. So the question is, where are you on this journey? Are you still stuck in the wishing phase, hoping for change without any real action? Or are you ready to commit? Real change begins when you move past wishing. When your wish becomes a desire so strong that it pushes you to take action. And when you commit to that desire, even when it's hard, that's when you unlock the true power of ambition. Because ambition isn't about wishing for success, it's about working for it day in and day out. And that's where the magic begins. Dreams are powerful. Not the fleeting, wishful thoughts we have when we're daydreaming or distracted, but the vivid, detailed dreams that ignite something deep within us. These dreams aren't just fantasies, they are projections of the future we want. They are glimpses into what could be, and they carry a force capable of propelling us through obstacles that would otherwise seem insurmountable. When a dream is clear and strong, it becomes a beacon, a guiding light that pulls us forward even in the darkest of times. Think about the great pioneers in history, the explorers, the settlers, the adventurers, those who crossed vast deserts and treacherous mountains in search of a better life. These individuals didn't simply wish for something better. They had a dream. They saw something beyond the horizon, something that called to them with a vision of possibility. This vision wasn't vague or abstract. It was detailed, it was real, and it was enough to give them the strength to endure hardships that would have broken a lesser spirit. Imagine the American pioneers who traveled westward during the 19th century. They faced unimaginable challenges, long, exhausting days of travel, treacherous weather, scarce food, and the constant threat of illness. But they kept moving forward. Why? Because they were driven by a dream. They saw a land of opportunity, a place where they could build a future, a place where their children could grow up in peace and prosperity. The rough terrain, the scorching heat of the desert, the brutal cold of the mountains, all of it became secondary to the dream they carried in their hearts. That dream was a promise of something better, something worth fighting for. Without that dream, the journey would have been impossible. The hardships would have been too great. But because they had a vision of a better life waiting for them at the end of the road, they found the energy, the creativity, and the determination to overcome every obstacle. The dream wasn't just something they hoped for, it was something they could see. They could picture it clearly in their minds. They could feel it in their bones. And that vision gave them the strength to keep moving step by step, mile by mile. This is the power of a dream. It's not just a wish or a vague idea of something you want. A true dream is a detailed, vivid picture of the future you are striving for. It's the thing that drives you to get out of bed in the morning and put in the work even when the path ahead seems impossibly long. A wish might be something you hope for, but a dream is something you believe in, something that becomes a part of you, something that you can't imagine living without. The power of dreams lies in their ability to make the future feel real, even before it happens. When you can see your future clearly in advance, it becomes easier to endure the present. Every challenge, every setback becomes a small step toward the vision you hold in your mind. The dream provides a sense of purpose, a reason to keep going even when the road is tough. It transforms the difficult moments into stepping stones on the journey towards something greater. Vague wishes, on the other hand, have very little power. They are like wisps of smoke, easy to dissipate and hard to grasp. A wish might be something like, "I wish I could be successful," or "I wish I could be happy." But those statements lack the clarity and specificity needed to create real change. Without a clear vision of what success or happiness looks like, it's easy to get lost along the way. The path becomes unclear, and the obstacles feel insurmountable. Wishing for something without a clear dream is like sailing a boat without a map. You might end up somewhere, but you won't know if it's where you wanted to go. On the other hand, a vivid dream provides direction. It acts as a compass, guiding you through the storms and challenges of life. And when you encounter obstacles along the way, a clear dream helps you navigate them. You can see the end goal, and you know that each step you take brings you closer to that vision. Whether it's the blistering heat of the desert or the freezing cold of the mountains, the dream helps you stay focused. You endure the hardships because you know they are temporary, and the reward at the end is worth it. Consider the countless stories of people who have achieved great things, whether in business, in art, or in personal transformation. Nearly all of them share one thing in common: they had a dream. A dream that pulled them through the tough times, a dream that kept them going when others would have given up. These individuals didn't just wish for success, they visualized it. They saw their future, and they worked tirelessly to make that vision a reality. Steve Jobs, for example, didn't just wish for a world where technology could change lives. He had a clear, detailed vision of a future where personal computers were accessible to everyone, where people could carry around small, powerful devices in their pockets. That vision drove him to revolutionize the tech industry. But it wasn't easy. He faced rejection, criticism, and failure. But because his dream was so clear and compelling, he didn't let those setbacks stop him. He kept pushing forward, fueled by the belief that the future he dreamed of was within reach. Similarly, J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, didn't just wish to write a book that would change the world. She had a vivid dream of a world where magic and adventure could come to life on the pages of a book, a world where readers of all ages could escape into something wonderful. But before that dream could come to life, she faced rejection after rejection from publishers. Her financial situation was dire, and at times it seemed like her dream would never become a reality. Yet she didn't give up. She kept writing because the dream of bringing Harry Potter to life was so vivid and real that nothing could deter her. And the world is all the better for it. The difference between these examples and someone who simply wishes for success is clear. The dreamers had a vision. Their dreams were not vague or passive. They were active, detailed, and powerful enough to keep them moving forward, even when the going got tough. And that's the power of a dream. It can give you the energy to keep going, even when every part of you wants to quit. When you see the future in advance, when you can picture the life you want with clarity, it becomes easier to navigate the present. The obstacles you face today may still feel challenging, but they no longer feel impossible. You know that each challenge is just another step toward the realization of your dream, and that's what keeps you going. That's what turns hardship into opportunity. And that's why dreams are so powerful. They don't just show us what's possible, they give us the strength to make it happen. So if you find yourself stuck in the wishing phase, it might be time to turn your wish into a dream. Ask yourself what you truly want, and then get specific. Paint a picture of that future in your mind. Make it vivid. Make it real. And then use that vision to propel yourself forward. Because when your dream is clear and strong, there is no obstacle too great, no challenge too daunting. The power of your dream will carry you through one step at a time until you reach the life you've always wanted. Benjamin Franklin was one of the most remarkable figures in American history, not just for his achievements as a scientist, inventor, and diplomat, but for his deep understanding of ambition and success. Franklin was a man who lived by his own principles, and he had a unique ability to translate his wisdom into practical advice that anyone could follow. One of the key vehicles through which he shared his ideas was Poor Richard's Almanac, a yearly publication that combined humor, wit, and practical knowledge. It was full of sayings that are still quoted today, and many of them reveal his views on ambition, success, and the way we should live our lives. One of Franklin's most famous sayings from Poor Richard's Almanac is, "Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise." This simple piece of advice reflects a key principle in Franklin's philosophy: that success is built on habits of discipline and consistency. Franklin didn't just wish for success, he worked for it day in and day out. He understood that the journey toward achieving anything worthwhile required a combination of hard work, patience, and most importantly, smart choices in how we spend our time. But Franklin's wisdom didn't stop at the idea of hard work. He understood that ambition and success weren't just about reaching a goal, they were about finding satisfaction in the journey itself. He believed that true success came when we could be content with our efforts even before we reached the final destination. Happiness depends more on the inward disposition of mind than on outward circumstances, Franklin wrote. In these words, he highlighted an important lesson that success isn't just about what we achieve, it's about how we approach the pursuit of those achievements. This idea that success is about enjoying the process, not just the outcome, was at the heart of Franklin's philosophy. He believed that ambition wasn't something that should make us unhappy or discontented. Instead, it should be a driving force that motivates us to enjoy life and to improve ourselves, all while being present in the moment. For Franklin, ambition was not a reason to constantly feel stressed or frustrated about what we haven't yet achieved. Rather, it was a way to make the most of what we have right now. Let's take a look at a few more of Franklin's sayings that reflect his view on ambition. One of his most famous is, "By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail." This is a direct call to action. Franklin understood that success doesn't happen by chance. It's the result of careful planning and consistent effort. But he didn't just focus on the importance of preparation. He also emphasized the value of taking small, steady steps toward our goals. Franklin believed that life could be molded one action at a time through deliberate and thoughtful effort. Another one of his quotes encapsulates this idea perfectly: "Little strokes fell great oaks." This simple yet profound statement reveals Franklin's belief in the power of small actions. It's not about taking giant leaps toward success, but about making consistent, incremental progress over time. This idea of progress through small steps is key to understanding how Franklin viewed ambition. He knew that ambition wasn't just about grand sweeping achievements. It was about making steady, meaningful progress every day. This is the second principle that Franklin often touched on in his writings: the idea that life and success can be molded through daily effort. Franklin didn't expect instant gratification or success overnight. He understood that anything worth having requires consistent effort, and he made this clear through his own example. He became a successful writer, inventor, and diplomat, not by seeking shortcuts, but by committing to daily progress. Franklin's life is a testament to the fact that success is not a single moment, but the accumulation of countless small actions taken day by day. Yet Franklin's view of success went beyond the daily grind. He also recognized that true success had to be satisfying in the present. It's easy to become so focused on future goals that we forget to appreciate the journey we're on right now. Franklin, however, understood that the journey itself was just as important as the destination. In fact, he believed that the pursuit of success should feel rewarding in and of itself, not just as a means to an end. This is the third key principle in Franklin's philosophy. Success must feel satisfying in the present. One of Franklin's most insightful quotes speaks to this idea: "Contentment makes poor men rich. Discontent makes rich men poor." What Franklin was saying here is that the pursuit of success, if it is constantly focused on the future and what we lack, will never bring us true satisfaction. True wealth and true success comes from being content with the present, even as we work toward our goals. Franklin wasn't advocating for complacency, but rather for a mindset that appreciates progress even in small doses. He believed that in order to experience true success, we must find joy in the process of becoming, not just in the end result. This doesn't mean that Franklin didn't believe in striving for bigger goals. Far from it. He was a man of immense ambition, and he achieved incredible things in his lifetime. But what Franklin taught us is that success doesn't have to come at the cost of happiness. We don't need to put our lives on hold or sacrifice our well-being just to achieve our dreams. In fact, Franklin believed that the key to reaching those dreams was to enjoy the pursuit of them. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of someday. We think that success will bring us happiness, but Franklin understood that happiness could and should be found along the way. He believed in the importance of enjoying small accomplishments, taking pride in each step forward, and finding satisfaction in the present moment. In this way, success wasn't just something we chase in the future. It was something we lived every day, through the joy of progress, the pride in our work, and the satisfaction of knowing we were on the right path. Think about the small victories you experience every day. Maybe it's finishing a project at work, crossing something off your to-do list, or simply making time for something you love. These small moments of progress are often overlooked, but they are the building blocks of bigger achievements. Franklin would have argued that these small victories should be celebrated, not dismissed as insignificant. After all, without them, the bigger accomplishments would never come. The way to see by faith is to shut the eye of reason, Franklin once said. In other words, if we focus only on the end goal, we might miss the beauty and satisfaction of the journey itself. Benjamin Franklin's approach to ambition and success is a reminder that the journey matters just as much as the destination. The pursuit of our goals should bring us joy, and that joy is found not in the distant future, but in the small steps we take every day. By being happy while pursuing our goals, recognizing that our lives can be molded through daily effort, and understanding that success must feel satisfying in the present, we can live lives that are not only successful but fulfilling. Franklin's life is a testament to these principles. He wasn't just a man of great ideas and grand ambitions, he was a man who lived out his wisdom in every action. His words continue to inspire us today, showing us that success isn't just about what we achieve at the end of the road. It's about how we walk the road itself. It's about finding contentment in the journey, taking small steps forward every day, and enjoying the process as much as the result. For Franklin, true success was not about reaching some distant goal. It was about making the most of each day, each moment, and each small accomplishment along the way. William James, one of the most influential thinkers in the world of psychology and philosophy, had a perspective on success that resonates with anyone who's ever faced adversity or struggled to reach a goal. His philosophy was centered around a simple but powerful idea. Success is born from the union of two elements, an inner ideal and the outer achievements that are connected to that ideal. For James, success wasn't about reaching some distant perfect goal. It was about the pursuit itself, the courage to follow an inner vision, and the persistence to keep going, even when success seems elusive. James understood that success starts from within. It begins with a clear sense of purpose, a vision of something we strive for, something deeply meaningful to us. This inner ideal, whether it's a personal dream, a professional ambition, or a sense of purpose, is the foundation of success. But James didn't believe that simply having an ideal was enough. It's not enough to just wish for success or to picture it in our minds. For James, success requires action, and it requires courage. It's about taking the steps, making the decisions, and doing what's necessary to bring that inner ideal into the world. But here's where James's philosophy sets itself apart. He emphasized that success is not measured only by the outward achievements we rack up along the way. It's also about the commitment to pursue that ideal, regardless of how many obstacles or failures stand in our way. James believed that it's the courage to keep moving forward until it works that defines true success. Success isn't something that just happens when you reach a destination. It's the process of continually striving toward your ideal, no matter how long it takes or how difficult it gets. This brings us to an important concept in James's thinking: persistence. For James, success was less about moments of brilliance or bursts of luck, and more about the daily, consistent effort to reach your goal. He famously said, "The greatest thing then in all education is to make the young believe that the impossible is not." The question is, how can we make that faith in ourselves? That faith, according to James, is built on persistence. The more we believe in our inner vision, the more willing we are to put in the work, to go through the setbacks, and to keep at it until it works. This idea of doing something until it works speaks to the core of James's philosophy. It's not about trying something once and giving up when it doesn't pan out. It's not about waiting for the right moment or the right conditions. It's about committing to the process, to the work, and to the ideal we've set before ourselves. In James's view, success isn't a one-time achievement. It's a series of steps, each one building on the last, leading us to where we want to go. And the key is to keep going, to keep pushing forward, no matter the setbacks, the failures, or the challenges. It's this persistence, this refusal to quit, that ultimately brings success. James's philosophy is often summed up in the idea that the commitment to pursue a dream may matter even more than the final outcome. The process of working toward a goal, of pushing through the hard times, of learning from failure, and of refining your approach, that is what shapes us as individuals. It's what makes us stronger, more resilient, and more capable of reaching our full potential. For James, success wasn't just about the end result. It was about the person we become in the process of striving toward that result. Think about it. If we never fail, if everything comes easy, if success is handed to us without effort, we miss out on the growth that comes from struggle. The obstacles, the challenges, and the setbacks are what teach us the most. They build our character, strengthen our resolve, and deepen our understanding of our own abilities. Success, then, is not just about what we achieve. It's about who we become in the pursuit of our ideal. And in this sense, James saw success as a journey, not a destination. It's about having the courage to follow our inner ideal and the persistence to continue on that path until we reach it. James also emphasized that success is not something that's measured by external standards or by what others think of us. In his view, the most important measure of success is whether we're true to ourselves, whether we've followed our own inner vision, and whether we've pursued that vision with persistence and courage. If we do that, then we are successful, no matter the outcome. The outward achievements, the recognition, the accolades, the tangible results are important, but they are secondary to the commitment we show to our inner ideal. James believed that it's the pursuit itself that gives life meaning. It's the dedication to something bigger than ourselves that makes our actions worthwhile. This perhaps is one of the most empowering aspects of William James's philosophy of success. So often we measure success by how far we've come, by how much we've achieved, or by how others view us. But James tells us that the true measure of success is much more personal. It's about how closely we align our lives with our inner ideals, how persistently we pursue them, and how courageously we face the obstacles in our path. In this sense, success becomes a personal journey, one that is defined not by the outcome, but by the process of striving. For those of us who are ambitious or driven, it's easy to fall into the trap of focusing too much on the destination. We set big goals, we dream of success, and we chase those dreams with all our might. But James reminds us that the real magic lies in the pursuit itself. Success is not just about what we achieve at the end of the road. It's about the choices we make, the effort we put in, and the growth we experience along the way. There is an undeniable power in the commitment to continue on until it works. Whether it's a dream, a project, or a personal goal, the willingness to keep pushing forward, no matter what, is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. And it's this commitment to persistence, this deep belief in our inner vision, that makes us resilient in the face of adversity. So as we think about success, perhaps we can shift our focus away from the outcome and toward the pursuit itself. Let's think about the inner ideals that drive us, the courage to follow them, and the persistence to keep going until they work. For William James, success was never just about what we achieve. It was about who we become in the process, and that is the essence of true success. Change doesn't happen overnight. It's easy to think that success requires some grand, dramatic shift in our lives. We often look at others who seem to have it all together and think, how did they do it? The truth is, success rarely happens in one big leap. More often, it's the small, consistent actions we take every day that add up to lasting change. It's the little choices, the tiny adjustments to our routines, our attitudes, and the way we treat the people around us that slowly and surely transform our lives. Take, for example, the way we adjust our routines. We all have habits, some are good and some are less so. But real change starts when we decide to tweak those habits, even if just a little bit, in the right direction. It could be something as simple as waking up 10 minutes earlier to take a moment for ourselves instead of rushing out the door. It could be choosing to spend a few minutes reading or meditating in the morning instead of scrolling through social media. Over time, these small adjustments start to compound. They set the tone for the rest of the day. They begin to shape our mindset and eventually the trajectory of our lives. But routines are only part of the picture. our attitudes also play a significant role in shaping our success. A small shift in the way we approach challenges can make all the difference. Instead of reacting negatively to setbacks or difficulties, we can choose to see them as opportunities for growth. This shift in mindset, though subtle, can have a powerful effect. It's about deciding day by day that we won't let frustrations dictate our mood or progress. We begin to view obstacles as part of the process, not as barriers to our success. This attitude of persistence, of viewing every challenge as a stepping stone, creates a foundation for lasting change. And then there's how we treat the people around us. We tend to think of success as something that happens on an individual level. We picture ourselves as lone achievers conquering the world through our own efforts. But the reality is that success is rarely a solitary journey. We need others to help us along the way, whether it's through their support, guidance, or even their challenges. The way we interact with others plays a huge role in shaping our opportunities and our growth. Small acts of kindness, appreciation, and respect can have a ripple effect that changes the course of our relationships and ultimately our success. Think about it. When we treat others with kindness and respect, it's not just about being nice. It's about building trust and creating a positive environment. A simple compliment, a genuine word of encouragement, or a small act of service can strengthen bonds and open doors. When we approach our relationships with an open heart and a generous spirit, we begin to attract more of the same energy. People want to work with us, collaborate with us, and support us because they feel valued and appreciated. But it's not just about big gestures. Often it's the small, everyday interactions that make the biggest impact. A smile in the hallway, a thoughtful email, taking a moment to listen when someone needs to talk. These small actions create an atmosphere of trust and positivity. Over time, they help to build stronger, more meaningful connections with others. And as these relationships grow, so do our opportunities. The people around us, whether colleagues, friends, or even strangers, become part of our journey toward success. We help them, and they help us. This cycle of mutual support is one of the most powerful forces in shaping our future. What's fascinating is that all of this, adjusting routines, changing our attitudes, and treating people better, begins with small, deliberate actions. It's easy to think that success requires some big, bold change, but the reality is that it's the little things we do every day that matter most. They might not seem like much in the moment, but over time, these small habits and positive interactions begin to add up. They gradually reshape who we are as people, and in turn, they reshape the opportunities that come our way. Change in this sense is not an event, it's a process. It's a journey made up of countless small steps. And while the end result may be something extraordinary, it's the daily commitment to making those small positive choices that ultimately lead to it. Success is not about waiting for a breakthrough moment. It's about creating the conditions for success every day through the choices we make, the habits we build, and the relationships we nurture. Consider how people who consistently work on their personal growth, even in small ways, start to see remarkable changes in their lives. A person who makes a point to improve their health by adding just a bit more movement to their day, or choosing healthier food options every day, will begin to notice a difference over time. It may not be immediate, but over the course of months or years, those small actions will add up to a complete transformation. The same goes for someone working to improve their career or relationships. Every time they choose to treat others with respect, to show appreciation, or to maintain a positive outlook in the face of adversity, they are creating the foundation for greater success. The real power of these small daily actions lies in their consistency. It's easy to get excited about a new habit or goal and jump in full force, but true change comes when we make these actions a part of our routine, when we commit to them day after day. Over time, they become ingrained in who we are. We don't have to think about them anymore, they become second nature. And as we continue to make these small positive choices, we start to see changes in ourselves, in our relationships, and in the opportunities that arise. Ultimately, the key to success lies in understanding that it's the small things that matter most. Change is not about waiting for a dramatic shift in circumstances. It's about making the small, consistent decisions that lead to bigger transformations. By improving our routines, adjusting our attitudes, and treating the people around us with kindness and respect, we create an environment that fosters growth. We begin to attract the opportunities, relationships, and experiences that support our goals. And before we know it, we've reshaped our lives not through one big event, but through a series of small intentional actions that add up to something extraordinary. The journey to success doesn't have to be a lonely one, and it doesn't have to be built on huge, isolated achievements. It's the little things we do every day that make the difference. Our routines, our attitudes, and our interactions with others, these are the building blocks of success. And it's through small daily habits and positive connections with others that we create the conditions for lasting change. Change may start small, but it has the power to reshape everything if we're willing to make the effort day by day. There's a saying that goes, "Success leaves clues." It's true in so many ways, especially when we look at the journeys of those who've overcome incredible odds to achieve their dreams. One story that stands out is that of a man who rose from the harsh environment of an orphanage to become a successful doctor. He wasn't born into wealth or privilege. He didn't have the advantages that many others take for granted. But he had something far more important, a fierce commitment to his own ambition. His journey was shaped not by luck or circumstance, but by his refusal to give up on his dream. Through years of hard work, determination, and a deep belief in himself, he achieved what many would have considered impossible. His story is a testament to the fact that ambition is not about where you start, it's about where you're willing to go, no matter the challenges in your path. What's powerful about stories like his is that they remind us that ambition doesn't have to be tied to privilege. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you lack, or what you've been through. Ambition is a moral commitment, a decision to build something meaningful with your life. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the right circumstances. It's about having the courage to pursue your vision even when everything seems stacked against you. This man's rise from an orphanage to a place of success didn't just change his life. It serves as an inspiration to countless others who might think that their circumstances define their potential. Similarly, the words of Jesse Jackson, a man who dedicated his life to civil rights and empowerment, continue to inspire millions. In one of his most impactful speeches, he encouraged young people to say to themselves, "I am somebody." These words carry immense weight, not just as a self-affirmation, but as a call to action. Jackson's message was simple but profound. No matter your background, your race, or your current position in life, you are somebody with immense value and potential. This declaration isn't just about affirming self-worth, it's about inspiring ambition. It's about giving people the belief that they can shape their own futures, that they can break free from the limitations others place on them, and that they are worthy of success. What's remarkable about both of these examples, the doctor who rose from the orphanage and Jesse Jackson's empowering message, is how they speak to the core of ambition, the understanding that success is a moral and personal commitment. Ambition is not just about wanting to achieve something. It's about the deeper drive to build something that matters, not just for yourself, but for the world around you. It's a recognition that your life has meaning, and that by pursuing your dreams, you have the ability to make a difference, no matter how small or large your impact might be. Learning from other people's journeys is a powerful way to ignite our own ambitions. We see their struggles, their resilience, and their eventual triumphs, and we begin to realize that we too have the power to rise above our circumstances. We may not all have the same story, but their journeys are a blueprint for what's possible. They show us that no dream is too big, and no barrier is too high to overcome. They remind us that ambition is about more than just achieving a goal. It's about the persistence and the character we develop along the way. It's about sticking to your vision, even when it feels like the world is pushing against you. In both the story of the doctor and Jackson's words to young people, we see how ambition is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not about instant gratification or external validation. It's about the commitment to continue, even when the odds seem insurmountable. When we hear stories like these, it gives us hope. We see that success is not reserved for the lucky few. It's not about where you start, but about where you're willing to go with the resources you have and the drive you cultivate. Ambition at its core is about personal responsibility. It's about saying, "I am going to build something meaningful with my life." These stories also remind us that ambition is deeply connected to how we view ourselves. It's not about comparing ourselves to others or striving for superficial success. True ambition comes from a place of self-belief, just like the doctor who believed that his future could be different from his past, and just like the young people who believed, I am somebody. Ambition in this sense is a moral decision. It's the choice to see your potential and act on it. It's the commitment to keep going, to push through the tough moments, and to build something lasting, no matter how long it takes or how many failures you encounter along the way. In the end, the most inspiring part of stories like these is the understanding that they are not isolated incidents. They are the result of ambition, a moral and personal commitment to create something valuable with one's life. Whether it's a doctor rising from an orphanage or a leader empowering others to believe in themselves, these journeys show us that ambition is a powerful force for change. It's the force that drives people to overcome their challenges and make their dreams a reality. And the most important lesson we can take from their stories is that we too have the power to pursue our ambitions and build something meaningful, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. When people hear the word ambition, they sometimes confuse it with something else entirely: greed. At first glance, the two can appear similar. Both involve wanting more. Both can drive people to work harder, reach further, and chase bigger goals. But when you look closely, the difference between ambition and greed is profound. One builds, the other takes. Ambition is creative. It's constructive. It pushes a person to develop their abilities, to build something meaningful, to grow beyond where they started. Greed, on the other hand, is focused on gaining more regardless of the cost. Where ambition asks, what can I create? Greed asks, what can I take? And that distinction makes all the difference. There's a simple metaphor that captures this perfectly. Imagine a city skyline filled with tall buildings. If someone wants to build the tallest building in the city, there are two ways they could go about it. One way is to work tirelessly, design something remarkable, gather the right people, and construct a building so impressive that it rises higher than all the others. That's ambition. It requires creativity, discipline, patience, and vision. But there's another way someone might try to have the tallest building. Instead of building something greater, they could simply tear down the buildings around them. If everything else is destroyed, their building becomes the tallest by default. That's greed. It's not about creation or contribution. It's about elevating oneself by diminishing others. Ambition adds value to the world. Greed extracts value from it. When someone is driven by ambition, their progress often lifts other people along the way. A business owner builds a company that creates jobs. A teacher pours energy into helping students grow. A doctor spends years mastering their craft so they can heal and help others live better lives. In each case, the ambition of one person becomes a benefit to many. Greed, by contrast, focuses only on accumulation. It measures success solely by what is gained personally, even if others are harmed in the process. And while greed may produce short bursts of gain, it rarely builds something lasting. People eventually recognize the difference between someone who builds and someone who takes. This is why it's important to pause sometimes and reflect on our own motivations. What is truly driving us forward? Is it the desire to prove something to others? Is it recognition, the satisfaction of doing meaningful work, the dream of providing security for our families? Or perhaps it's the deeper fulfillment that comes from knowing we used our abilities to their fullest. None of these motivations are inherently wrong. Wanting recognition for your effort is natural. Wanting to provide a better life for your family is honorable. Wanting to feel proud of the work you do is deeply human. In fact, many great achievements begin with exactly these motivations. The key question is whether our ambitions are focused on building something that improves life, not only for ourselves, but for others as well. Healthy ambition often grows from the desire to contribute. A person might want to succeed so they can support their parents, help their children, or create opportunities that didn't exist before. Another person might pursue excellence simply because they feel a responsibility to develop the talents they've been given. In both cases, ambition becomes a force for creation. And when ambition takes that form, it becomes something powerful. It motivates people to learn to work harder, to solve problems, and to build things that didn't exist before. It fuels innovation, art, discovery, and progress. Greed narrows the world. Ambition expands it. So the challenge isn't to eliminate ambition from our lives. The challenge is to guide it, to make sure that our drive to succeed is connected to something meaningful, something constructive, something that adds value rather than simply taking it. Because at its best, ambition is not about standing above others by pulling them down. It's about building something so strong, so creative, and so meaningful that it naturally rises higher than what came before. There's an idea that often surprises people when they first hear it because it sounds almost contradictory at first. It's called enlightened self-interest. On the surface, self-interest sounds selfish, like someone looking out only for themselves. But when that self-interest becomes enlightened, when it becomes wiser and more thoughtful, it begins to look very different. Enlightened self-interest recognizes a simple truth about success. The more value you create for others, the more success eventually finds its way back to you. Instead of asking, "What can I get?" the enlightened mind begins to ask, "What can I give?" And strangely enough, that shift in perspective often leads to far greater rewards. Think about it in practical terms. The people who rise the highest in their professions are rarely the ones doing the bare minimum. They are the ones who give more than expected. They take extra care with their work. They show up prepared. They look for ways to help others succeed. Over time, that reputation becomes something powerful. People trust them. Opportunities appear. Doors open. It's not magic. It's cause and effect. One of the clearest ways to understand this idea is through a farming metaphor. Imagine a farmer standing in a field at the beginning of the season. If the farmer simply stands there and wishes for a harvest, nothing will grow. The soil doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to seeds. It responds to preparation, planting, watering, patience, and steady care. Life works in much the same way. If you want better results, you have to plant better seeds. Those seeds come in the form of effort, discipline, learning, and service. When you invest those things consistently, something begins to grow. At first, the progress may seem invisible, just like seeds hidden beneath the soil. But beneath the surface, something important is happening. Small disciplines begin to compound. A person who reads a little every day slowly gains knowledge that others never accumulate. A person who improves their skills bit by bit becomes more capable than they once imagined. A person who treats others with fairness and generosity builds relationships that support them for years to come. None of these changes happen overnight. Just like a farmer cannot rush a harvest, we cannot rush the results of disciplined effort. But given enough time, the seeds produce something remarkable. Enlightened self-interest simply recognizes this natural law. When you give more effort than expected, when you serve others with genuine care, when you invest in growth instead of shortcuts, you are planting seeds that will eventually return to you many times over. And the most remarkable part is that this process doesn't just change what you achieve, it changes who you become. Through daily discipline, thoughtful effort, and a commitment to serve others well, a person slowly transforms their life, one small seed at a time. Ambition rarely arrives with noise or spectacle. More often it grows quietly from a dream you refuse to abandon, from the discipline of showing up each day, and from the small actions repeated long after excitement fades. Over time, those small steps shape a life. So take a moment to reflect on your own ambitions and the one step you could begin today. And if this reflection resonated with you, a simple like or subscribe helps keep these conversations going.